Everybody, Mega with 31 back here for FSI DFS. We've got a 12-game slate on DK, 11-game slate on FanDuel because we have a doubleheader from Washington and Philly. That's not on FanDuel as usual, starting at 7:05. So not a bad big slate because there's actually a lot of options that you can look at for hitting and pitching. You can pretty much narrow down. So let's just fly through these games here. Lots of wind, lots of high temperatures across the United States today. So second half of the doubleheader, you have bullpen game, probably Bailey Felter and Pablo Espino for Philly and Washington. Winds 13 miles per hour across the field. If they go out, that definitely boosts offense a little bit. So if I don't think, not touching either pitcher in this game, no interest whatsoever. Phillies make a really great GPP stack, and Washington, I guess, makes a decent cheap stack there too with this bullpen game going on there. So next up we have the San Francisco Giants. Oh, what's going on with my camera there? It's better. Against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates have almost been no-hit a couple times recently. So Rodon, he struggled a little bit, and there's a couple of starts, a few starts ago, but it's been better recently. So I think he's the top pitcher on the slate here, definitely against Pittsburgh. Even with wind blowing out 11 miles per hour, it's 79 degrees, so actually one of the cooler temperatures on the slate, if you can believe that. Zach Thomas in Pittsburgh, no interest. San Francisco, I think if you're playing 150 max, if Pittsburgh, if you want to take leverage, because Rodon's going to be the most expensive, or probably one of the higher owned pitchers on the slate. Other than that, not really super interested in much in this game besides Rodon as a pitcher. Yankees and Blue Jays, you have Jordan Montgomery and Ross Stripling. There's a pretty decent total here. Montgomery is an okay pitcher, but Blue Jays are all right-handed and do really well against left-handed pitching. On the other side, Ross Stripling is an okay pitcher, but the Yankees are definitely in really great form. I love the left-handers here, especially if Carpenter makes the lineup. He's just absolutely been crushing it recently. Rizzo, I'd play Stanton and Judge with it too, and then, however else you want to finish off that stack. Blue Jays, Bichette got injured and was taken out of yesterday's game, so we have to see who replaces him in the lineup, if Espino moves up or if Biggio's in there. He's a really cheap guy. I think he's only like 2.8 on DK, so gives you some value options there, but not playing either one of the pitchers. St. Louis Cardinals, Boston Red Sox. Looks like wind might be blowing out 60 and 20 miles per hour to right field here. Adam Wainwright and Mike Walker. Adam Wainwright's a good real-life pitcher. I mean, he's at the end of his career here, but not going to play him against Boston. Walker, I think, is decent. It's kind of a revenge game to play for St. Louis previously, so maybe he knows these batters a little bit better. Maybe they know him, but I think he's not going to get many strikeouts, and he's not really a super strikeout pitcher. So in the medium range, if you're looking for somebody at 7.4, I don't think he's horrible. I think he's playable, but probably not very little interest here with that. Cardinal bats and Boston bats. I think the Boston bats definitely make a lot of sense here, especially if I'd probably just take the lefties here, like Duran and Devers and like Verdugo and not Vasquez, Cordero, and maybe if sandwich in a couple of the JD and Xander as a couple of the right-handed bats, but more of a GPP. I think the Yankees and Blue Jays and Coors are going to be the cash ones, and Philly and Boston make great GPP ones there. Miami Marlins and New York Mets. Pablo Lopez, he got pushed back because he was injured. I think his wrist was hurting him, so he's definitely a no at 10-2, especially against a Mets team that doesn't walk, doesn't strike out. So just absolutely no interest in him whatsoever. Carl Carrasco on the other side, I think is decent, is a nice pivot off of Rodon and probably Screwball, who are going to be probably the higher owned pitchers on the slate here. Wind blowing out 12 miles per hour, 86 degrees, so makes a pitching ballpark a little bit more hittable, but not super interest. No interest in the Miami, and the Mets, I think, not super interested in them either against Lopez. I think, I'm going to put them up on the board, but they probably fall right there. Can't play everybody in a 12-game slate, but if you're 150 max, if you want to play some bets, no problem there. Good pitching matchup here. Texas Rangers, Detroit Tigers. You have John Gray, who's probably going to be the chalk SP2 at 6'9", so have a great season. Detroit, lots of strikeouts, not a lot of power. Great matchup from there. And Schoolball on the other side against Texas. Yes, there has some decent righty bats, but just looking at this lineup with some of the people in it, it just does not look good. It's like a step above Oakland if they do roll out what they're supposed to here. So Scooball definitely makes a great play here at 9K, and it's definitely a savings down from Rendon if you want to go that way. It's your SP1. If you want to play both pitchers in this game, I'm perfectly fine with that. Also, wind is blowing out at 17 miles per hour, 80 degrees there, but I really think these pitchers, if like we've been saying all week, if you can't hit the ball, then it doesn't matter what the wind is doing because the ball's not going anywhere. So I think as you see a bunch of strikeouts in this game, both pitchers do really well. Chicago White Sox and Houston Astros, Lucas Giolito and Framer Valdez here. Giolito's really been struggling recently, 4 out of his last 6 starts, I think. So not interested in him, especially at this price point against a Houston team that, again, doesn't really strike out, walks a lot, very patient at the plate. And then Valdez at the other side, I think he's okay. You can consider him in the mid-range at 8.5 here, but I think I also like some of the White Sox right-handed bats. They have done really well, especially some of the guys down towards the bottom of the lineup, like Xavier had a home run in that really big game that they put up on Wednesday. Mendick is actually at the bottom there, has actually been like hitting really well the last couple of games. So I think you have a lot of value down there. And I think the White Sox are my favorite cheap stack of the day, and Houston I think is just 150 max. They might be able to get to Giolito, so maybe they're a GPP consideration, but I'd rather take Philly, Boston, St. Louis, or Minnesota there. If you want to bump St. Louis and put Houston in that spot in GPP and stack order, that's fine. I think those two are really close, but I think there's probably 150 max there for you. San Diego Padres and the Colorado Rockies in Coors Field. You have 2 lefties going here. You've got Mackenzie Gore, who will be a decent pitcher down the road, still has a lot to learn about Major League Baseball, and Kyle Freeland, who is a decent pitcher, but not at Coors. So Padres, #1 stack, absolutely. Manny Machado probably in the top play on the slate. Luke Voigt, criminally underpriced at 3.8. Take the righties here in San Diego. You probably mix in some other ones. You might even get a Christmas present here with Jose Azocar batting 9th. You can do a wraparound stack, a 2-1 on DK. It's a almost minimum price bat at Coors Field against the correct split. Just plug and play right there. Rockies on the other side, same thing. Love the right-handed bats here against Gore. Iglesias is actually a shortstop because I was struggling to find a shortstop, and then I kind of looked, and he's actually hitting like 300 this season. Doesn't have power, but that's fine. Just if he gets on base, some of the other guys can hit him in, and those, in Coors, singles can do doubles into triples, things like that. So I think he's definitely a sneaky play here at 3.7 for a shortstop position. Kansas City Royals and Oakland A's look like he's coming back off the disabled list. He doesn't strike people out. He's up against the worst offense in baseball. So if you're looking for a really cheap dart YOLO play, I think you can play Yankee Drinky at 5.5. I think he'll have 0 ownership. But, if you just want to plug somebody in a pitcher just to completely stack Coors Field and get Rendon or something like that, I think it's not the craziest idea, but I think it's more terminated. I wouldn't do that in a cash game at all. Montas on the other side, I think is definitely probably my favorite mid-range play against Kansas City here, coming in at 8.3. Bat-wise, Kansas City, no interest. I don't know why they put it on the board either. And Oakland, I think, is one of my favorite cheaper stacks there. I think, we talked about not playing Oakland, but if it is against Greinke or we'll have to see what the starter is. I think that you can get some cheap pieces there to make your higher stacks work. Minnesota Twins, Arizona Diamondbacks. Smeltzer, he's really struggled recently. I think Arizona could take advantage of that. Bumgarner, of course, is not the same guy he was about 5 years ago. So he's at the twilight of his career also, and not super good anymore. Roof's closed here, but I think offense is still going to be decent. So the Twins are one of the really GPP stack, load up on the righties, Buxton, Correa, Ishella, even Sanchez might have a good game here. So, okay, stacking them in GPP. In Arizona, I think decent, cheap stack, taking their righties against Smeltzer. Next up, we have the Cleveland Guardians and the Los Angeles Dodgers. I saw someplace where the Cleveland Guardians have a total over 6 against Kershaw, which I think is absolutely insane. So if you can find that someplace, actually bet on the under on that. I know Kershaw's only had like one decent game this year, and he's probably I don't know enough room on the fade list to put him there, but I put him 4th in the high pitcher because he still is crazy Kershaw, and Cleveland's good, but there's potential that he has a decent game, but probably not. But I don't think he's going to give up 6 runs especially against his bullpen. So no way. I don't know where that came from. And Dodgers have a super high total too against Plesac. So both pitchers not interested in here. Dodgers in 150 max if you want to put in a GPP or your late night hammer stack, that's fine. Cleveland and 150 max, I guess, is maybe leverage against Kershaw if he does continue to struggle. I'm okay with that, but I think there's so many other better options on the slate. Then finally, Los Angeles Angels and Seattle Mariners, Lorenzen and Robbie Ray. Lorenzen against the Mariners is blah. I think you can, if you're looking for a cheap guy, it's 7-1. I think maybe, in tournaments he works. Robbie Ray is either going to be really good or really bad here. He's going to strike out and be the good Robbie Ray that we saw, do so well last year and have flashes of brilliance this year, or he's going to give up a bunch of runs to all these right-handed power bats from the Angels. So he's definitely a GPP and a decent price guy in the minimum range. Prefer Montas, and probably Valdez, but if you want to pivot off of them, then he's definitely in play here. Angels would definitely be a very good leverage stack. Might be the top leverage stack if Ray does get some ownership here over Detroit and Texas. But I think those pitchers will be a little bit more popular. And then Seattle just falls on my no interest one here tonight. So look at the breakdown to get you on your way. Cash, taking Rondon and Gray, taking the Padres, and then fill in with some Colorado guys, Iglesias there, or a shortstop, like I said, whoever else you want. Cash, FanDuel, go Gray, and then you just stack Coors Field. You might need to take a one-off in this outfield place, about like 2.5 to 2.0. But you can definitely make that happen. And then finally, GPP, I'm taking Montas and School Ball. I'm stacking Colorado here. Maybe you fit like Boston in there. You get like Devers and Duran in there and take a cheap catcher. And then GPP, taking School Ball, taking the Yankees, Rizzo, Carpenter, Stanton, Judge, and I'm playing the White Sox there, Pollock, Vaughn. Maybe the shortstop is a wraparound stack, and then figuring out a second baseman. So that's what are same thing, second baseman, like looking at low part of some of those value guys for Chicago and wrapping them around. So that's what we got for Friday slate. So thanks for watching. As always, put comments below if you have any questions. Check back, because yesterday Severino was scratched for Yankees. Got that in the chat as soon as I possibly could. So hopefully you came back and saw that and didn't get burned by him. If you try to do the setup and forget it, one, and eat your dinner and then realize your pitcher's not pitching, and it's a huge loss for you. You can hit me up at Twitter at MegaWar31 if you want more information about FSI DFS, and you can check the details of the video, and all the information is there. So appreciate you watching. Please like the videos, share with your friends, subscribe to our channel so you know our videos are coming out, and we'll see you next time. Good luck tonight.